out. And I think now the recording is on. Excellent. Recording is on. So for people that don't know me, I was diagnosed with osteoporosis at 32, and that's how my own journey has started. And now I'm a nutritional therapist, and nutrigenomics and bone health specialist, and I work with a lot of various people and organizations over the subjects of longevity and bone health for over 15 years now, and in over like 20 countries. So for everybody that was here yesterday, what was your biggest insight from yesterday? I would like to know. Just share with me today, and maybe for someone else that was not here yesterday. That inflammation could cause bone loss, Deborah says. Yes. And it's something that I think I mentioned yesterday. It's the role of inflammation. I know it's because inflammation is so vague and we kind of forget about it, but actually is one of the most potent drivers of inflammation that actually feed in osteoclasts. That's what it does. And like I mentioned yesterday, and a lot of the hidden, the bone thieves that we tend to forget have to do with inflammation, and usually low-grade inflammation. So not anything, if it's another condition, inflammatory condition, it's kind of easy because you have another condition. Maybe you don't know that it's affecting your bones. For example, a lot of diabetics don't know that it affects their bones. A lot of people that have an autoimmune disease, they don't know it's also affecting their bones. But at least, it's kind of like more clear to you that you are inflamed. But in the majority of times, it's low-grade inflammation, which is very difficult to find with normal testing. And we kind of ignore it and dismiss it until it starts screaming. And unfortunately, this is something that affects our bones as well. And it's a primary driver for all degenerative conditions in aging, actually, inflammation. So the journey so far, day one, that was the first time that we talked about the bone health puzzle and the missing pieces. As you can see, the puzzle here. The second day was talking about the hidden bone thieves, and it's within, we talked for the 4 pillars, which is nutrition, movement, inflammation, and emotional health and mindset. And the hidden bone thieves usually are within the last 2 pillars, so inflammation and mindset, and this is what is usually missed. So today we're going to talk about some more practical steps, how you can get there, so you can get a personalized plan yourself. In a simpler approach that it's not going to take you too long, and it's not going to be too expensive for you, because of course, if you have loads of time and you have quite a significant amount of money to spend on this specialized testing, including genetic testing, then of course you're going to get the relevant results, a personalized approach. So let's see. Why we are so confused? It's obvious. There is so much that is going on. And this reminds me of myself. I was like 20, 22 years ago. I was in that sort of state, like studying all the time. I used to have a research background. I do have a research background, so to become a scientist. And I thought by studying more, it's just going to completely, resolve all my issues and understand what was happening with my body. So I was very, very confused person, and probably that's this lady here: calcium, vitamin D, weight bearing, blah, 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 etc. And I didn't manage to improve my health a lot with the first 4 years. So I really struggled with that. So very much looking like me, this lady. So the goal is not to do more. The goal is to do the right things in the right order. That's to save time and confusion, okay? Because the 4 pillars, nutrition, movement, inflammation, and emotional health, they're all interconnected. And of course, when you are um, it, trying, working on one, you're going to help the other one. But if it's not the primary pillar, and if it's not the primary cause of your condition, then in this case, you might not get so great results. You might not get them very soon, and you might get, deflated and confused and drained and give up. I see more people at meetings. So hi, everyone. I was very late in sending the reminders today, so we just started anyway. So today we're talking about more practical solutions to how to create a personalized plan for your bone health. So you're not too late. And I'm recording this time. So nutrition is a lot more than calcium. So talking about the practical stuff for your personalized plan, and we start with the basics, but from a more personalized approach. And we're more focusing on foods and then on supplements. So first we start with the basics. And it's very easy when you look into everything that is shared online about bone health that I was actually, I had a one-to-one client recently, and she shared with me a plan that she received from, and it was written by a very known doctor. She's also a doctor in the field, and health expert or whatever. And I was terrified because I mean the plan was immaculate. It was great, but probably not. It was just too aggressive for this lady, and it just had so many things there that it would be impossible for her to actually do these things, all these things every day in a kind of like sustainable way. And I felt really sorry for her because she felt like, oh my God, I'm failing because I can't do all these things together and at the same time. And I was feeling, I was in a similar space 20 years ago. So the nutrition trap. Yes, people become obsessed with one nutrient, one supplement, one food, while missing the bigger picture. I think even a couple of days ago, I had someone with celiac. I think her name was Anne, and she was talking about collagen supplements and what collagen, type I should be getting. I think she mentioned 6 collagen types, but actually there are more than 30. I think now we know. Not all of them are associated with bones, particularly, but we discover things all the time. So just getting obsessed with one perfect collagen supplement or one perfect calcium supplement or one perfect food, or demonize one food, demonize dairy or demonize gluten, for people that are not gluten intolerant, is not really a solution. We're just missing the whole picture. So for this lady, I mean, it was obvious. Yeah, the problem was her celiac and her immunity. It was an inflammatory issue. So her first approach would be actually reducing the inflammation and regulate her immune system. Of course, she would need completely to exclude gluten as well in her case, but not getting obsessed about HRT, because she was also discussing and asking about HRT or collagen supplements. What strong bone nutrition really looks like at the very basic level, seriously, protein, minerals, mineralization. So not only calcium, but also things like, I know you're going to think that I'm going to say boron or magnesium, but actually I'm going to say iron. The reason why it's because iron is supposed to play a major role in activating vitamin D in the kidneys and the liver. So a lot of women, a lot of people that have vitamin D levels, the active vitamin D levels in the blood, quite low. It could be because are iron deficient. And that's something that it's very, very much missed. So minerals, whole foods, so no processed foods, something that we know already. Digestive health. So IBS, if I mentioned, I think even from the first masterclass, chronic IBS it's very serious and shouldn't be dismissed. So if it's there, if it is a problem that you have it for a very long time, this is where you want to focus first. And consistency. And to have consistency, you have to have a very simple plan, not a meticulous nutritional, I don't know, 7 weeks, 7 days, whatever plan, but a very, very, very simple, basic plan that you can stick to every day. And of course, on a nice day when you have more time, you can make it a little bit more sophisticated. But to be consistent, you need simplicity. So, what area of nutrition feels most confusing for you? I mean, that would be very interesting. I think dairy is probably what I hear mostly from people. I don't know if I have to eat dairy or not to eat dairy. I think that's one area of confusion. But I would be very interested to know, if you want to put in the chat, what area of nutrition feels most confusing for you? Because remember the 4 pillars. We have nutrition, we have movement, we have inflammation, and we have emotional health and mindset. So nutrition and movement are the pillars that you hear most about. If you go on the internet, if the Instagram or whatever, or health experts or YouTube, they talk a lot about nutrition and movement. So what is about nutrition that feels most confusing? I'm assuming it's dairy. Yeah, I mean, dairy can be confusing for many people because dairy has a lot of calcium, and our bones need a lot of calcium that we need to absorb. So, yeah, but at the same time, it can be quite inflammatory, especially for adults, and especially if they have a lactose intolerance. But primary lactose intolerance or primary dairy intolerance is completely different to a secondary intolerance. And because the first one is genetic, the second one is not. How you can actually figure that out without doing the testing? So this is the kind of things that I'm trying to simplify for you. Yeah, you have celiac and other food allergies. How much dairy? What vegetables and fruits should we choose? Yes, correct, Deborah. I mean, first of all, to answer the celiac question again, celiac is reducing mineral absorption. If it's full on, it's reducing the absorption of minerals, especially. So you definitely have to exclude gluten religiously. Then the second thing that happens, if you have other food allergies that not really food allergies, in the majority of cases, it's your gut have suffered for a long period of time because of the celiac and it's damaged. So again, you really need to, put out the fire. Think about inflammation. And Deborah, yeah, how much dairy and what vegetables and fruits? I would say if you want to make it very simple in terms of the vegetable and fruits, any vegetable and fruits are good. I mean, of course, more vegetables than fruits, but how much dairy? Yes, that is something that needs more personalization definitely for sure. Reina says about coffee and alcohol. I would say alcohol practically zero, but well, zero. You know what I mean. But coffee, yeah, you don't need to exclude it necessarily. So there are ways to find out if coffee is something that you need to exclude completely, or it's something that you can have somehow in your diet. And there are ways that, because the problem with the coffee is that it does two things. One is that it can elevate your stress hormones, so it can put you in a catabolic state and increase your bone loss. That's if you cannot clear it effectively, which is something that, well, it's easy to find out. I mean, in my case, I know if you drink too much coffee, you can find out, or can get addicted. The other things with coffee is that it also has oxalates, and oxalates reduce the absorption of calcium and other minerals. But there is a way there is a tip that you can actually can still have your coffee and still not affect your calcium absorption. Yeah, you can have dairy. Great, because actually the calcium in dairy is very much bioavailable if you can have it and you don't have any intolerance. Yeah, this is good. And Nana says, I'm not lactose intolerant, but I can't do dairy at all. Is the problem then whey or casein? Well, Anna, for that needs a lot more personalized approach, and you need to test for that. But I would say dairy as a food, and wheat as a food. We're talking about gluten and wheat yesterday, but dairy as a food has other allergens in it. So not only lactose. Lactose particularly is a sugar. So the proteins, you mentioned casein, for example. So we can't know if it's casein that is causing the problem. Whey, it doesn't have much lactose, and usually people that are casein intolerant as well can do okay with whey sometimes. So for this one, you need to be tested. But if you do have the dairy intolerance, there is a way to get around that with a more personalized approach. If you want a 100% personalized approach, you need to test. And Rian says that she has to be careful of dairy because of a gallbladder problem. Gallbladder, what it does, if you have it removed, if you had it removed, if you have a gallbladder problem in general, then it means that you have issues with fat, really, so with fatty food and not dairy in particular. So in your case, Rihanna, would say if you have any discomfort with dairy not removed, it was not removed is great, because if it's removed, then you have issues with digesting any lipophilic vitamins, even if you take them from a supplement form like vitamin D and vitamin K. So it's good that don't have it removed. But if you have issues with dairy, it's probably because not of your gallbladder and something else is going on. But anyway, so there's a lot of confusion. Oh, yes. So we need to personalize as much as we can without testing. And in some case, you cannot do it without testing. I'm not going to lie here for you. I'm not going to resolve like absolutely everything. For a 100% personalized approach, one-to-one approach, testing, blah, blah, etc. But there is a lot of things that you can do to get down to the level to personalize and simplify what you do and do it with more confidence. And this is I'm going to show you today. Anton, yes. Could vegetables calcium, the calcium from vegetables, yes, you can have it. It's not as bioavailable as it is from dairy and other animal sources. Uh, the coral calcium, again, is not as much bioavailable, but there are ways that you can enhance the bioavailability of the vegetable calcium. So there are ways that you can do that. And I'm going to get to there today. These are things that it's my personalized research and my training over the years that I put together for you. So there are a lot of things that you can do, like for example, how improving the absorption of vegetable calcium for very important for vegans and vegetarians without without having to have animal foods and without doing any additional tests, for example, for intolerances, for dairy intolerances. There are ways that you can get around that I discovered over the 20 years. So before we get back to the personalized plan, a few things about movement. Movement, I think I mentioned also in the first class, is not a punishment. And I remember this plan that this client of mine received from this very known health expert and doctor, and her exercise plan, it was like, I mean, a lady in her 60s, quite a lot of issues and some pains and musculoskeletal pain, but very, very, quite healthy and active. But her plan, it was like a plan that I would give to, a middle-aged athlete or, previous athlete. It was just too much. It felt like a punishment to me. But anyway, It's not about burning calories, because a lot of women, especially in menopause, they just go crazy because they put some weight on and they think, oh my God, yeah, I just need to do a lot more training and the resistance exercise and the cardio. This is not going to do anything for your bones, and actually it's not going to burn any of your calories as well. It's just a signal to the body, and particularly the muscle. It triggers, and the muscle that we create with the exercise, especially with resistance training, it triggers bone formation. So it is a signal to the body in general for better blood sugar regulation, for better mood, but also a direct signal on the bone. And it offers protection on the bone. I mean, one of the things that I have to remind myself, because I'm quite lean and it's very easy for me to lose muscle, especially after I became menopausal, is to keep doing some training, some level of training that's good for bones every day. And when I'm saying training, it literally takes me like 10 minutes every day to do that. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 4 different types of exercises. I'm not going to the gym. I haven't been in the gym since 2012, by the way. I hate the gyms. I'm not saying that you should hate the gyms. That's my personal thing. So another thing that I consider is very, very important is to do things that you like. And if you don't like going to the gym, then you have to find something else that's good for your bones, as I had to do for myself, because I don't like going to the gym. If you like going to the gym, great. So not all movement sends the same signal. Walking, strength, balance, impact, a bone loading. And I'm putting bone loading there because resistance exercises, it is just doing some bone loading as well. But there are some specific methods, including the Osteostrong method, that I also use, not so regularly, unfortunately, because I can only find it in Athens, and I don't spend so much time in one place, so I can do the method as I should. There are some specific methods that they're focusing on bone loading by putting the exact force on the bone that is needed for bone formation. And this is something that you cannot do only by walking or strength exercise. And here, this is something that I extracted from a presentation that I've done for professionals, so for other nutritionists and doctors and health professionals a few months ago. And that's just an extract. There was a lot of detail there that I'm not going to share with you because it was too complex. But just to understand the kind of force that is necessary for someone to start build a new bone. And if you see that, you can understand why simple resistance training, it doesn't really going to make much difference. I mean, you need the frequency and you need the repetition as well, which is very important. But just randomly doing things is not going to do anything for you. So being in a kind of like an average state, do average form of exercise, or doing too much of exercise is not going to get that for you. So standing, the force that you get on the bone by standing is, well, it's strain, ME, that's some numbers and a particular, that have a particular meaning for in physics. But anyway, the force is about 1. And you get maintenance, so it's good to stand, it's good to walk, especially if you walk uphill, is 1.2, 1.5. If you're doing stair climbing, which I do every day, because when I'm in Athens, I live on the 5th floor. So I use the stairs pretty much every day, but not everyone can do that. If you have joint problems, it's about 1.2 to 1.5. Sorry, it's about 2, the force that you, of your body weight, okay? BW is a body weight. Jumping and hopping, is what you need is 3 to 5. When I'm saying what you need, because for the bone formation to happen, you need the force that is created on the bone to be 2 times, at least 2 to 2.5 times your body weight. And this is what the bone loading specific methods do. Saying that, the bone loading specific methods, they're usually quite expensive. I think the Osteostrong method, and it's not for everyone, the Osteostrong method for a year in euros costs over 1,000. if I remember right, or 6 months is over 1,000. I don't remember exactly, to be honest with you. So it comes with quite a hefty price, and it's not available everywhere as well. You can't find it everywhere in every country. What I'm saying by having the 2.5 of your body weight, I'm not talking about lifting weights that are 2 times your body weight, 2.5 times your body weight, because this is something that literally nobody can do unless, I don't know, maybe some athletes that they do, heavy weight lifting, they can do that because this is their profession, that's what they do. But not normal person can or should do that. But I'm talking about the kind of forces that an exercise can generate on the bone, on the muscle and on the bone for a very short period of time. Most of the time, it's just seconds, okay, or milliseconds. And this is what I'm talking about here. So it's much more important to, I'll give you an example with the weightlifting, to lift some weights safely, of course, but that you feel some strain, that is difficult to get up to 4 repetitions. So you do 4 repetitions 4 times instead of getting another weight and do 15 repetitions 4 times. So you have to stress your body a little bit to the point that you feel the stress, but not completely exhaust yourself, and not something that it's too easy. Okay, so if something feels too easy and you go, hey, I can do it many times, that's not good for you. And similar with impact exercise, it's much better to do 4 to 10 jumps from like a higher, like a higher height, can I say that, from a higher point, than doing 100 jumps that, I saw on Instagram, someone showing 100 jumps. I mean, 100 jumps, if I do 100 jumps daily, I'm lost. And for some women, they can't even do jumps. But there are ways, there are exercises that they can safely mimic these forces safely of the jump if you do them repeatedly and with some frequency on a weekly basis. And you can then, if you do it for like 6 weeks time, 8 weeks time, then after the 8 weeks, of course, you can progress and improve. But it's something that you can do safely. The majority of us can do safely. So if you see that, you can get like very alarmed. And if you can see something else that I don't have it in here because, that would be probably too much. There's a prescription exercise now that you can find. There's the Lift More study, and there is another study which is called prescription exercise study or something similar, that the amount of exercise that it has there, if you saw it to any woman that is 50, 55 plus, I'm 50, almost 53 now, and I'm very active, and I'm still quite sporty, but even for me, it's too much. So the movement confidence gap, that's the problem that I had, especially in the beginning, 20 years ago when I was diagnosed with osteoporosis. I didn't know what was safe. I stopped exercising completely because they scared me so much, and they told me that I have the bones of an 80-year-old. So I thought that even if I go down the stairs, I'm going to fall down and break. What is effective and where to start? So these are the things that I see mostly with women 50, 55 plus. With younger people that have osteoporosis, they're more confident around the movement, but with older age, it's something that, they're not confident. They go like, oh my God, I'm not sure if I have to do that because I might hurt myself. And then they start doing things like swimming, for example, which is great, but not so much for bone formation. So what if you had a clear plan? And that's where we get to the bottom of things. And on nutrition and movement, there's a lot out there, but it's a lot of confusion, but also on the hidden bone phase, inflammation and mindset support. So everything will start to feel simpler, wouldn't it? It just kind of makes sense. But how you can get there without spending 6 months, a year, 20 years, like I did. Well, not 20 years, but definitely the past 4 or 5 years, I would say, not a waste, but I spent a lot of time in confusing myself. So how you can do that without spending too much time, without getting overwhelmed, and still, being efficient in what you do, having some confidence that is going to have an impact, a positive impact. The real problem, most advice assumes everybody needs the same thing. And everybody needs the same thing at the same time, I would say. That's the real problem. So the problem isn't information. We know what matters, in nutrition and movement, in sleep, in stress and everything. We know it matters. Well, maybe in sleep and stress, we didn't know that much, but we know that after the presentation, and we talked about the hidden bone things. But the real challenge is knowing what matters for you right now, where to start. Because if you know where to start and what to focus on, this is going to save you time, money. I don't even want to think the amount of money that I spent on supplements the first like 4 or 5 years. It was like a nightmare. I think I mentioned many, many times in the last, 2 master classes, I used to have like an Excel spreadsheet, or multiple Excel spreadsheets that I was keeping. I was recording the kind of supplements that I was taking and what I was eating and everything, because it was just too complex. So I couldn't remember. So I had to keep an Excel spreadsheet. Stressful? Oh yeah, tell me about it. Was it helpful for my bones? Doubt it. But anyway. So imagine 3 women. We have someone, actually, clients in the 40s. I get a lot of women in the 40s, usually with an autoimmune condition or after having IVF or, these sort of things. Emma, 42. Emma is a random name. Biggest challenge, hormonal balance. So her priority is completely different than Sarah, who has a celiac disease that, a few people mentioned in the group. If you do have a celiac disease, then you look at inflammation and accidental contamination, cross-contamination of gluten, and digestive issues. That's where you need to focus first. Immune system, inflammation. Then with someone older, 55 plus, and maybe not so active, maybe retired, maybe tired as well. So the first thing is probably movement. It's something that I see here, like Linda, 68, or with women 70 plus, 75 plus. I know for some people go like, 75 plus, can they actually improve their bone density or the bone strength? Another term that I like to use, because bone density doesn't really give you the whole picture. Oh yeah, trust me. And women that are 70 plus, actually, retired, have a lot more time to dedicate, and usually, there are not any grandchildren or grandchildren if you are 70 years old or 75 years old, because they're much older now, so you only have to take care of yourself and be focused on what you're doing. So they're the most compliant clients, and yes, they do see results with a natural approach. So if that answers this question. So this is why people get stuck. They're solving the wrong problem first. And if you're trying with the wrong problem first, and I think in my case, I was focusing too much on supplements. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I don't know how many of you focusing on supplements probably a little bit too much on what you should. So I was focusing on supplements a lot, and for me, that was not the issue. For me, it was, as I mentioned in the previous master classes, was mostly my thyroid. I had an underactive thyroid, and in this case, my tests were normal. By the way, I mean the traditional thyroid tests look normal, but I was iodine deficient, and of course, I also had IBS. But the problem was first my thyroid, and then was my emotional health and my stress levels. Yeah, I'm getting what to do next. Yeah, and yes, exactly. I'm just looking at the chat, people saying in the chat. Yeah, and what happened to me is that I started with the supplements, focusing so much of supplements, missing, the thyroid and missing the stress. And I was making myself even more stressed with all these, excess spreadsheets. That what happened is, hi, Jane, good to see you here. So what happened with me is that I didn't see many improvements because I was focusing on supplementation a lot, and I got a little bit disappointed and a bit drained, and I almost quit. So in 5 years down the line, I had started my nutritional therapy training already, but I almost quit because at this point I felt that things are not going to improve. So that's what can happen if you start with the wrong thing first and things don't improve, and you still don't see any improvement with how you feel, improvement your bone density, and improvement with your bone strength in general, how you feel, then you give up. And I was very close to giving up. So that's what can happen. But and I owed that to one of my tutors actually in college when I was doing my second studies, that she actually inspired me to stay, and she said, no, I mean, you should stay. And I stayed and I learned, and I now share that all with you. Anna says, I'm focusing on bones, still intolerance. So when I exercise, all my inflammation markers fire up. Yes, yes. Another reason why some people cannot do the levels of exercise that are out there. And that's why there are four different types of exercise, really. They're the FODMAP diet, I thought, the FODMAP diet. The different four types of exercise that you need is impact, resistance, some form of walking, and some form of stretching. But you need particular movements from its different category that can actually help with your bone formation. The FODMAP diet that someone is mentioning in the chat is a diet that excludes quite a lot of sugars, simple sugars from the diet, that helps with IBS. It's not a long-term diet, and it can actually make you deficient in many things. So it can help you with your symptoms for a short period of time when you're trying to remove the triggers. Some of the triggers are simple sugars for the irritable bowel syndrome in the majority of cases, but it's not something that you can keep for a very long time, unfortunately. Yes, FODMAP intolerance. Yeah, you cannot do it. But even if you could, it's not great anyways. Let's see. So the better question, what should I do? And instead, the better question is what I should focus on. This is a kind of thing that I realized after my first 5 years in this journey. And this is what helped me to get where I am now, which is 22 years almost later, still being medication free. And even after became menopausal, my bone health didn't deteriorate, which is something I was terrified, by the way. I was really afraid of menopause because I was diagnosed when I was 32 actually. So it didn't deteriorate. And well, by the way, I didn't have any menopause symptoms, but that's because I was doing all these things very, very young. And a lot of things that I was doing with inflammation as well. And inflammation is an aging condition, and menopause is due to age, and also helped with my menopausal symptoms. So I didn't really have any menopausal symptoms as well. So I was very lucky with that. Very lucky, being unlucky, but lucky at the same time. The bone health reset. So that's something that I put together, and it's kind of a hybrid between my 13-week, well, sorry, that was a 12-week, not 13-week, my 12-week bone course and my one-to-one programs. So I have the one-to-one personalized programs that have the genetic testing, 100% personalization. It's absolutely great if you can do this level of personalization to find exactly the clarity, supported guidance that you need. That's great, but most people can't. It's very expensive. It takes a lot of time. And then I had a 12-week program, and my 12-week program, it was still quite heavy. And for people that are overwhelmed and are confused, it's 12 weeks, it's just 3 months. And especially the first 2 weeks, it was all about the medications and the DEXA scans and blah, 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 and everything. So it was a lot about that. And it was a lot. It was a lot. So even my 13-week program, which was a group program, it wasn't really a reset. I mean, it was 12 weeks. 12 weeks is not a reset. When you talk about a reset, you talk about something simpler, shorter, efficient. To do that in bone health, it's kind of a challenge because the bone metabolism itself, it's quite slow. To completely regenerate, completely renew all your skeleton, it can take every single bone cell, it can take up to 10 years, even if your bone metabolism is normal. So I was trying to work on something like that for years, but especially over the last year, because I realized even my 13-week course, not program, a 13-week course was not very helpful, was still making people overwhelmed. So I needed something simpler, faster, easier for people to get confident with their choices and get the clarity and support, guidance, and accountability that they need in a shorter period of time and not 12 weeks. And that's what I created here. So for people that joined today, you can find the recordings for previous days. So please go back and watch them, okay? But today I'm just going to talk about putting a plan together for you. And what I have created is a hybrid between my one-to-one personalized programs, which are quite expensive. It takes 6 months to a year, and my 12-week course, which was better, but still not quite complex or quite a lot. I mean, 3 months of work. So I kind of condensed that into a 6-week journey. So week 1, you get your bone health reset roadmap. So you are able to identify priorities and create your personal action plan. And that happens in a group setting, okay? So it can be as personalized as you can in a group setting. Of course, not as, 100% personalized working one-to-one with someone, but still based on the information and the knowledge that I acquired all these years. I have created a roadmap for each one of you that we can personalize with minimal tweaks in the first week. The second week, nutrition foundations. We keep that very simple to be able to be consistent. And we'll focus on what matters most. And we will still be able to take care of any issues that have to do with IBS or sensitivities. Again, we're not able to resolve absolutely everything. If someone has primary intolerances, which is a different thing to the secondary ones, the secondary intolerances are the ones that are because your gut is not healthy. So if you fix the gut, then the secondary intolerances go away. But for some people that have primary intolerances, they might need some extra testing. But in the majority of cases, we don't need that. So week 2 is going to navigate sensitivities as well and reduce confusion and focus on what matters most. So simple, sustainable, and accessible to absolutely everyone. Week 3, that's the first, hidden, I would say, pillar. There are a lot of different factors within that pillar, inflammation and metabolism, that we can work on. So by understanding the influences of that, we can actually support your body's ability to rebuild. And this does not happen only with nutrition. There are other practices that I use personally and I use with my one-to-one clients that I will also be sharing with you as well in that week 3. And then we have week 4, movement. I have my 6-day movement reset with the 4 different types of exercises, creating a realistic movement plan for absolutely everyone that you can do every day. And pretty much everyone can do that. I'm pretty sure, there might be one person or whatever that they cannot do it, but it is safe and it's something you can do every day, even if you can't go to the gym, even if you're very busy And even it's like in my case now, because I get like very busy, I do so many different things, it just takes me like 10 minutes every day. Week 5, mindset and emotional health. That again, we're going to be using some more techniques that I'm using personally and I'm using with my one-to-one clients to reduce fear and create sustainable habits. So it goes beyond nutrition again and beyond supplements. And week 6, that's a very important week. We kind of integrate and we put like everything together into a practical roadmap for each one of you. So the first week we start creating it, identify your priorities. Then last week we just put everything together and you go away, each one of you with your own plan. And this is doable and it can happen in 6 weeks. And it is a great start that can set you for like, I don't know, to do more later on, but after you have some clarity and you know where to focus. And then there's a lot of information that you can actually filter, even from the internet, you know, but you need to have a plan first and identify your priorities. And this is what is very important for all these pillars, for all 4 pillars, not only for nutrition and supplements, okay? So everything that is included, and I created these slides last night, so hopefully I have included everything here and I'm not missing something. So weekly live calls. So you will be getting every week some resources. It can be some video or PDF, plus the live calls. The live calls, depending on how many people join, where they come from, they will be at the same time. So 1 p.m. Eastern time or 6 p.m. UK time. But if there are more people that actually join from the States, I might have like 1 week at this time, then the next week. So every other week will be at a different time. But you will still have the recordings and the video trainings. You will also get you also get community support and personalized guidance during the calls. So during the calls, it's basically like having a one-to-one consultation because you'll be speaking to me. The weekly calls is usually around 60 to 90 minutes, depending on, you know, on the attendance and how many problems we need to resolve. But they're pretty much personalized. I mean, even with in a group setting, in my previous experience with the 12-week course, even if you get like, I don't know, 80 people on the course or 100 people on the course, in the calls, usually you get like 20 people, 25 people max on the live call. And it's very easy, that's 60 minutes. And for some people that, you know, there are the same questions. So it's very easy in 60 minutes or 90 minutes to pretty much address absolutely everything. And so it feels like one-to-one, and it is almost like a one-to-one consultation every week. And also you get some bonuses. So the moment you sign up, you get your Strong Bones Priority Roadmap. That's the startup roadmap. So you receive that immediately the moment you sign up. Supplement and testing simplification guide. You receive that immediately. And then, of course, we refine during the program, during the 6 weeks. The bone health assessment blueprint. Medication choices explained. Making sense, so that's another kind of like PDF document explaining medications. Making sense of your bone density scan results, so DEXA and REMS, what actually means. Immediate community access. I'd start with a Facebook group, but if people want it, something that I've done in the past, I also added a WhatsApp group for people that want, you know, a more, you know, feel more confident or better with a more immediate approach. So if people are open to it, I will consider it. My 6-day recent movement plan, that's something that you're not going to receive immediately. And that's because I wanted you to do it safely. So there's going to be some demonstration as well. So you receive that later on. So not immediately when you sign up, you receive it later on as part of the movement week, which is, I think it's week 4. And you're also becoming founding members in my Strong Aging Circle. So this is a new community, you know, venture, whatever you want to call it, and, you know, something that I'm just starting now, or very soon anyway. And you're going to have free access for some period of time. We'll see how it goes, depending, you know, if you're, you know, how many people are interested, etc., for free for a certain period of time. So you will learn more about this. You'll be receiving some information as it goes. And yeah, hero bonuses. So that's something that I thought about yesterday, because I'm going to have some more free time in the summer, and I thought it would be nice to add. So hero bonus for the next 48 hours only, you're going to get a special introductory call to discuss, the more specific issues that you might have, with sensitivities or whatever. That would be a group call. And also for the first 10 people that sign up, you get your personalized priorities roadmap by me. So it'll be like 100% personalized ready. You will be sent a questionnaire, and the moment you complete the questionnaire, you're going to receive some more information, which is going to be 100% personalized. So for people that join now, please accept my apologies because I forgot to send the reminders earlier. But you can watch the recording. I recorded this time. You can watch it later. So today I talked about the 6-week bone health reset plan, which is a plan that I put together for everyone. And I'm just going back here because someone just joined. So it's a 6 weeks that covers absolutely everything: nutrition, movement, emotional health, inflammations, all 4 pillars. And in the last week, we have as much personalized practical roadmap all together for everyone. And the bonuses included the live calls, the video trainings, resources, personalized guidance during the calls every week. The course, it's 60 to 90 minutes. And then we have the bonuses. You get immediately the roadmap, which we'll define later. Supplement and testing simplification guide, again, we'll define later. Bone health assessment blueprint, medication choices explained, very, very important. I was wasting a lot of time in my course to do that, but now you get it ready the moment you sign up. Making sense of your bone density results and community access, plus 6-day recent movement plan, and you become founding members of my Strong Aging Circle, and this comes later on. And the hero bonuses for people that sign up immediately, for the first 10, you get a 100% a personalized priorities mind by me after you complete the questionnaire, and also an introductory group call to speak about, your specific issues if you sign up in the first, 48 hours. So that means that this offer ends Saturday, 6th of June, so in 2 days, okay? The launch price for that is $199, which I think for a 6-week program with that levels of personalization, it's quite reasonable for most. My 12-week course was a lot more expensive. And of course, my one-to-one programs that have the genetics were, a lot more expensive because it includes the testing. So I thought that it was like a fair price for everyone. And it is a launch price because this is the first time that I do this shorter 6-week program, or reset, as I want to call it, not even a program, because it is really a reset. So I want you to imagine yourself in 6 weeks, feeling calmer, clearer, more confident, supported, and knowing what to do next. I mean, I wish I had that 20 years ago when I started this journey, and I didn't. So my primary aim, my primary goal is to get there, for you to get there. And the program starts on the 29th of June, and the special introductory call is on the 23rd, okay? So you can join here. So this is, let me go back. I'll share that in the chat as well. So people, if you want to join, you'll receive it by email. But if people want to join now and don't miss the extra bonuses, you can join now. So let me see chat. And I will answer your questions. Yes. Can you see you can. Yeah. So that's the link that you sign up. What improvement could be seen with the DEXA scan test after having done all the necessary without medication, only with your natural approach? Is it possible to go from a -4? Anton, I can't guarantee that, and not even a doctor can guarantee that. And whoever says that is a fraud. You cannot guarantee that. There's no way. And to see, okay, just to be 100% clear, to see an improvement on the DEXA scan, you're not going to see an improvement on the DEXA scan, even if exists in less than 12 months, even if exists. And that's a limitation of the DEXA scan. On a REM scan, you can see improvements in a couple of months' time, or sometimes even in a month's time. You can start seeing some improvements in, I would say, 2 to 3 months. On a DEXA scan, even if there are improvements, you cannot see them. Also, DEXA scan also measures the bone density on a T-score, and if you join, you will receive also an explanation of the DEXA scan. If someone promises you that he's going to get your bone density from this score to something score, first of all, I would say it's probably a lie, and also it's a lot of it's very misleading, because the DEXA scan only it can only measure bone density, and because the DEXA scan does not actually cannot show any improvement so quickly. I would say in a year or in 2 years, you really see any improvements or deteriorations on the DEXA scan. And again, the more personalized you are and the more things you addressed, the better your overall health would be. And if your overall health is the one that's impacting your bone loss beyond menopause, then yes, you're going to see improvements. But I'm not going to mislead you or lie to you, Anton, and say that after 6 weeks you're going to do a DEXA scan. It's impossible and see improvements in 6 weeks. Even if there are improvements, it's impossible to see it on the DEXA scan. And whoever says that is lying. I've done the one-to-one program with yourself, but I haven't had time to follow the diet yet. I think one-on-one session with yourself, Brian. And that was another thing with Brian. Well, I mean, after, if it's over than 12 months, then the one-to-one program, you can't really do that. But if it's less than 12 months, then you can't. But if you haven't followed the diet yet, then that goes back to my question, why you didn't follow the diet. So maybe you need to simplify more. And in this case, getting onto the bone health reset might be more helpful to you. I don't know. That is another thing. If it's less than 12 months, then you can continue. If it's more than 12 months, then no, not really. That's not something that it's possible. But let me know. I mean, message me, and we can find a way and figure it out. So anyway, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I mean, the fast action bonuses, if you want to, the program starts June 29th. I don't start immediately because in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be away. I also have a seminar in Athens, then I have a conference in London, and I have some kind of work-related travel. Again, I'm going to Denmark. So that's the reason why. But the program starts on the 29th, and the special introductory call for everybody that joins until Saturday, that we're going to go in detail, as much as detail we can, about your own issues, is going to be June 23rd. And the time, probably about the same time, or depending on, how many people join, and, where they are and what their time zones are, I might change the time to something different, maybe a little bit later, so people can join easily. The link is here, and I'll put it in the chat again. So that's the quick bonuses that you can get if you sign up immediately. I'm going to share, to send some emails to you as well. If you have any more questions, please ask. I'm going to see if there's any more questions in the chat. And you can also unmute yourself as well if you want to ask something. It's up to you. I mean, you have to remember, I created this program. It's a hybrid between my one-to-one and my group course, my 12-week course, because I would have liked to simplify things more. I mean, as you have seen, some, the Rian said that she did the one-to-one, but it was very difficult for her to stick to the diet. So maybe with the accountability and the simplification, the extra simplification, for some people it might be some more useful sometimes. So sometimes the one-to-one programs, even though are the ideal standards, might not work if someone feels already very overwhelmed. And this is the reason why I thought, yeah, let's get this out to the masses, and let's get this out for a group, for in a group program, because I know how it feels like to feel overwhelmed and unsure. I mean, I've been there, and I don't want people to do that alone. And sometimes this approach might even be better than a one-to-one approach, because sometimes one-to-one approach can also feel overwhelming, especially if you do the testing, the genetic testing, you to get a lot of information back. And as much as I can help, it might not still be ideal for you. So you need to simplify. So this is what I wanted to say. If you don't have anything to ask or anything to share, please go back and watch the rest of the recordings. And yeah, I hope I see you in the program. We start on the 29th on the, what is the genetic testing? Do we have to do the blood test in our country? So I didn't have time to start the diet, but only had questions regarding the generic testing. Rian, do you want to email me about that? Let's take it in person, and we'll manage to find a way around this. Okay. And Anna, what is the genetic testing? The genetic testing is part of my one-to-one approach, my one-to-one program, and it is not blood; it is a mouth swab. You can do it in any country. Yes, you can do it at home. It's a home test kit. I also work with, yes, Rian, thank you very much. And thank you for joining today. Yes, if you want to know more about that, Anna, you can also email me, and you can find some information on my, I think there's on my profile some information, so you can click and book an appointment or whatever. But you can do it in any country. And I work with different laboratory companies, in different countries. It's to work around logistics, because you can understand sometimes if someone is in the States, it might not be so easy to send some testing from Europe. So yeah. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, thank you, Marine. Yeah, I really hope you join us at the end of June. In July, I mean, it's going to be 6 weeks, so we start the last week of June. In July is going to be a much freer, much more flexible month for me. And I know that people say that, oh, it's summer, holiday time, but actually I think it's a great time to start with something, because the weather is nice and you feel a lot more motivated, and the sun inside, is shining, at least, the most parts of the world, which I think, most people that have joined here today, the Northern Hemisphere anyway. So I think it's a good way to start. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Please go back and watch the recordings. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Another thing that I want to say is that the hero bonus for the 10 people that join first is up to Saturday. But the program itself, I mean, the program, link is going to be available until Monday. So people need to sign up until Monday. If you don't sign up until Monday, because then I go off, I have my seminars and I have my conferences and everything. So if you don't sign up on Monday, then the next reset is going to be towards the end of the year. So if you want to join now, please do. The program is 6 weeks, but the recordings will be available for at least 3 months. And I will make the community, the Facebook community, also available for 3 months around the program as well, for people that might go, I don't know, holidays or whatever. But you need to sign up the latest until Monday, until Saturday, to get, for the 10 people, to get the extra, more personalized review after you complete the questionnaire, and to get the extra call. And for everybody else, up to Monday. After Monday, card closes, nobody can sign up. And the next reset is going to be at the end of the year, probably end of the year. I don't think I can do it before November anyway, because I have other commitments. So thank you very much. I hope I'll see you there. I'm going to share the link once more. You're going to receive an email. Thank you so much for joining and being here with me. And yeah, I hope I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye now.